Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Green Chemistry Connection webinar series. We're happy to have for you today a sneak peek of the educational symposium at the June 2020 Green Chemistry and Engineering Conference for you today, which we have today session organizers and co-chairs for that session. We're thrilled to have them all as panelists today, and I'm going to start with some introductions. So my name is Natalie O'Neill. I will be the host for you today. My role here at Beyond Benign is a higher education program manager. We are a nonprofit organization that's dedicated to green chemistry education in K through 12 through higher ed. This webinar series is highlighted to design topics in green chemistry education for faculty and students looking to adopt green chemistry in their courses and in their programs. And we're happy that we are co-hosting today with one of our green chemistry commitment signers, Ed Brush, who gave us this great idea of highlighting the green chemistry educational sessions that would be at the GC&E conference this year, since it is open and therefore the barrier is lower than ever for people to get involved into this green chemistry community. So we thank Ed for his time and dedication to getting this webinar established today. Now for some just logistics as we go through our program today, that we're broadcasting live and this session is being recorded. Therefore, all attendees are in listen-only mode and all lines are muted. If you have a question, please type it into the question/chat box on the control panel for our moderator. Dr. Amy Cannon, the Executive Director of Beyond Benign, is behind the scenes monitoring the chat box for you, and we will respond to as many questions as we can after the presentations today. The recording will also be posted in the link that you see in the welcome chat box and on this PowerPoint slide, and any documents that are after this presentation will be linked in that post as well. This webinar, as I mentioned, is being brought to you as a part of the Green Chemistry Commitment Program, which is a consortium program aimed at transforming green chemistry education, expanding the community of green chemistry practitioners, growing departmental resources for those looking to adopt green chemistry, improving connections to industry, and affecting systematic change in chemistry education. The program is completely voluntary, and it's really for institutions that are looking to look at what they're currently doing, track where their goals are going to, and find a way to get involved in green chemistry as a whole. You can find more information on the link on the slide or that is being added into the chat box, or you can reach out to me directly. I'm always happy to talk to you about the green chemistry commitment. And of course, all of our signers are as well. For those of you that do participate in social media, we do have our lovely Juliana Vidal, who is our communications intern on the back side of this webinar and also monitoring our social media platforms today. So if you are so inclined or you participate in social media, we would love to see some live tweeting or sharing going on during the webinar today. And Juliana is there to see all that's going on. We are happy today to have we have a total of 6 session organizers with us today, and also Jenny Mckellar, who's going to give us some background on just some general overall things for the conference, as she is the GC&E organizing committee and also a member of the ACS Green Chemistry Institute. So I'm going to introduce our first 4 speakers, and then we will hear from them, and then we'll introduce the next 3 speakers as we move through the webinar today. So first, I'm going to introduce Jennifer Mckellar. I think she's going to join on and just wave and say hello as I introduce her. Jennifer Mckellar joined the ACS in early 2013 as a program manager in the ACS Green Chemistry Institute. She was responsible for coordinating technical programming for annual ACS Green Chemistry and Engineering conferences, developing educational project initiatives for the ACS GCI, and serving as a resource for the green chemistry stakeholder community. In her current role, Jennifer focuses on providing high-quality education resources and mainstreaming green chemistry education in the United States. We're then going to hear from Ed Brush, who is a professor of chemistry at Bridgewater State University in Massachusetts, where he teaches inorganic chemistry and introduction to green chemistry. Ed is a co-PI on 2 curriculum projects at BSU to integrate and scaffold research in the UN Sustainable Development Goals through the BSU curriculum. He serves on the advisory board for the Green Chemistry Commitment and is a member of the ACS Committee on Environmental Improvement. He has contributed to the ACS CPT Green Chemistry Supplement and was a guest editor on the Journal of Chemical Education special issue, which was Systems Thinking and Green and Sustainable Chemistry. Ed has co-organized a numerous number of symposiums and workshops on green chemistry and sustainable chemistry at the ACS national meetings. We're then going to hear from Jane Wissinger, who received her BA from Susquehanna University in Pennsylvania, her master's from Georgia Institute of Technology in Georgia, and a PhD in organic chemistry from Northwestern University in the United States. She was employed as a research scientist at Roman Haas Co. for 5 years before beginning her academic career at the University of Minnesota. Wissinger teaches and research interests focus on the development of curriculum materials for colleges and high school classrooms that exemplify modern green chemistry technologies and advances in sustainable polymers and guided pedagogy. She is a senior principal investigator in the NSF Center for Sustainable Polymers and active in promoting green chemistry education on a local and national level through funded projects, publications, and conferences. Her contributions to education were recognized with a U of M. Morris Alumni Distinguished Teaching Professor Award in 2014 and an ACS ECI Award for Incorporation of Sustainability in Green Chemistry Education in 2018. Finally, we're going to hear from Peter Mahaffey as our first part of our speakers. Peter Mahaffey is a professor of chemistry at King's University in Edmonton and the director of the King Center for Visualization in Science, which provides interactive digital learning resources for over 500,000 students, educators, and the public from over 100 countries each. His research interests and professional work is at the interface of systems thinking and chemistry education and the use of interactive and visualizations to facilitate the learning of science, sustainable and green chemistry, and the responsible use of chemistry. Mahaffey is a past chair of the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry, IUPAC, Committee on Chemistry Education, a charter member of the International Council of Science Committee on Freedom and Responsibility in the Context of Science, and temporary working group on science and outreach for the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, which received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2013. He serves on the American Chemical Society presiding working group to help professional chemists communicate climate science to the public. He has co-authored a general chemistry text and 50 referred publications in science and science education and received awards for his work in chemistry education from IUPAC, ACS, Chemical Institute of Canada, and College Chemistry Canada. Wow, with those amazing introductions and these amazing speakers, we're going to move on to the main event. And so I'm going to hand the controls over to you, Jenny, to take it away. Oh, Jenny, I think you're muted, so we're just gonna make sure.
I am muted, thank you. Thanks, Natalie, to you and the Beyond Benign team for hosting this event and highlighting these wonderful sessions that are taking place at the GC&E conference this year. Just make sure I can advance my slides here. As Natalie mentioned, we are in our 24th year of the annual Green Chemistry and Engineering Conference, and under the current circumstances, we have switched to an all virtual conference, which will be taking place this year from June 15th to 19th. If you are interested in joining this event, it's a free event for everybody, and we would love to have you join. You can visit gcne.org to register today and sign up there. We have events that are starting, that even started last week. We have the GC&E Fridays webinars that are taking place the 3 Fridays before the conference. So there's one on this Friday if you're interested in joining. And then, of course, during the week of the conference, we'll have an excellent lineup of educational programming, which we'll be hearing about today. One of the things that I find most exciting about the educational programming that we have lined up for this year is its focus on systems thinking as it relates to sustainability and the UN Sustainable Development Goals. These are important initiatives to the ACS Green Chemistry Institute, as well as our colleagues at Beyond Benign. And we're incredibly excited to see these ideas highlighted so thoroughly throughout the programming at the GCNE conference. If you haven't done so yet, please join our virtual event. We'll have keynotes from a wide variety of speakers starting on June 15th. They'll start each morning at 11 a.m. with a keynote, followed by 2 technical sessions each day. So some days we'll have a series of 8 concurrent technical sessions going on. So it should be really great. For those of you who will be joining us, all of our presenters will present via pre-recorded video, and then attendees will be able to interact with those speakers in a GoToWebinar room after each pre-recorded session is aired. It's a great opportunity to interact with the presenters and get your questions answered in a live format. So even though we can't see each other face-to-face right now, it's a great way to interact and still find ways to connect. Within the virtual conference platform, there will also be e-posters presented and an opportunity to meet with our expo presenters and those participating in the Green Chemistry Product Showcase, where they highlight green chemistry innovations that have come to market. We hope to see you there, and with that, I won't take any more time away from our great speakers.
Great, so I will hand the controls over to Ed.
Thank you, Natalie. Is my audio coming through?
You sound great, Ed. Oh. You sound great to me, Ed.
Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, hi everyone, and I'm so happy that we have so many people who are hearing about our sneak peek about what's going to be going on and in terms of chemistry education at the Green Chemistry and Engineering Conference. And thank you, Natalie and Beyond Benign, for hosting this. I'm working with Grace Lasker, who's from the School of Nursing and Health Studies at the University of Washington, in putting this together. And we're so grateful to the organizers of the GCNE for all the hard work in making sure that this conference is running. Because a lot of hard work is going in for a lot of us in putting together our symposia, and also for the speakers who were so excited about being able to present their work. So this is a great opportunity for all of us. So Grace and I are running a symposia on connecting green chemistry systems thinking in the UN SDGs to the undergraduate chemistry curriculum. Many of us who are in the chemistry enterprise recognize that the chemistry enterprise is not sustainable. And it's very critical that we change the way that we think about and do chemistry. And as chemistry educators, we also need to impart that thinking into our students. So in particular, in chemistry education, we are seeing this paradigm change in the teaching and learning of chemistry. Okay, so in putting together our symposium, Grace and I have looked at what some of these pillars for a paradigm change in chemistry education may look like. Certainly green and sustainable chemistry to address the grand challenges of sustainability, to bring in this very important context to our teaching and to the students' learning. We have the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which are the to-do list for what the world needs to do in order to become more sustainable. Systems thinking is going to be critical in my view, in my mind, for building in these cross-disciplinary connections and for also studying and understanding complex global challenges. And all you need to do to learn about systems thinking is to look at the December 2019 Journal of Chemistry at Chemical Education. That's the special issue on systems thinking in green and sustainable chemistry. And finally, we're going to be also hearing about innovative pedagogical approaches. If there's one thing to moving to completely online has taught us, certainly myself, is that as much as we thought we were engaging our students, we still have a long way to go. And these high impact practices, these are excellent evidence-based pedagogical approaches that have positive impacts and benefits to students' learning. And we'll be hearing about those as well. So let's take a look at the great lineup of speakers that Grace and I have for our symposium. So our first series of presentations is on Monday, June 15th. And the times you see there are Eastern time. Okay, just so you are aware of that. We have first off Tamara Freeman. She's from the University of British Columbia, and we'll be talking about general chemistry and how systems thinking and the UN SDGs are connecting there. And also be talking about in terms of high impact practices, guided inquiry type of assignments. Oscan unfortunately cannot join us. We have our good friend David Lavista, who is from Seton Hall University, who will be talking again about first year chemistry and highlighting again the importance of the SDGs with important connections to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Nick Kingsley from the University of Michigan Flint, where they have their brand new Bachelor of Science Green Chemistry degree program. We'll be looking at both freshman and upper level courses in terms of connections of systems thinking and the UN SDGs into their courses and their curricula. So really looking forward to that. Following a live discussion, we move to our next series of speakers, and we have Karen Pearson, who is from the Fashion Institute of Technology, which is part of the SUNY system, and Heather Buckley from the University of Victoria in British Columbia, who are going to be looking at interdisciplinary type approaches to teaching of chemistry and to bringing in these green chemistry topics. So Karen will be talking about her approaches to engaging both science and non-science students. And Heather, there we go. And Heather will be looking at an ecosystem approach to talking about interdisciplinary student teams and also thinking in systems and how they are approaching their curriculum. So again, both of these are going to be focusing on cross and interdisciplinary type projects. Jane Wissinger will be talking about her great work at the University of Minnesota on their Polymers Institute, focusing on upper division lab courses and using sustainable polymers as a platform for teaching systems thinking in the UN SDGs. And Sudhir Abhyankar is going to be talking about a variety of approaches that he has been using with his colleagues about integrating green and sustainable chemistry toward a sustainable future. And again, another live discussion. But wait, there's more. So we have 2 days of programming. The second day, notice, is going to be on Wednesday. And again, the time is Eastern time. So we have, and these presentations are going to be leading into our live interactive workshop. So David Constable from the ACS Green Chemistry Institute will be giving us some broader general information about the UN SDGs in chemistry education. Grace Lasker, our co-organizer from the University of Washington, focusing on some great ideas about high impact practices for bringing in systems thinking and the SDGs. And I will be talking about my work at Bridgewater State University about bringing PBL, project-based learning, into my organic chemistry lecture and laboratory by focusing on research engagement, and also how we're taking a bigger look at this in terms of curriculum-wide engagement, cross-disciplinary engagement. And then Grace and I are going to be having a live interactive workshop where we're going to be working with participants and thinking about, in simple terms, how we can outline a 4-year curriculum that integrates and scaffolds green chemistry systems thinking in the UN SDGs. And again, we want to keep this simple. So it's something that could be transportable to any type of institution where you could at least get a start on major curriculum change, which let's face it, is a really hard thing to do. So our general approach that Grace and I are thinking of taking in terms of the type of discussion questions we're going to have will be first looking at the overarching learning outcomes that we're going to call the guiding principles. What should they be? And then for the 4 years, we're going to be having, hopefully, groups of participants getting together and talking about an inventory. What are you doing well in these years? And what needs improvement in terms of green chemistry systems thinking in the SDGs? And also to get some ideas and broader knowledge about what are some of the effective and innovative pedagogies that are currently being used. And so we're really looking forward to that. And we have a variety of different ideas of how we're going to engage the participants in this workshop. So let me close out by thanking again Beyond Benign and the GCI Green Chemistry and Engineering Conference team. Remember, folks, you do need to register for this free conference in order to participate. And Jane Wissinger and I are going to be coming together, hopefully live, with everybody at the ACS National Meeting in San Antonio. Okay, thank you very much.
Wow, thank you, Ed. I'm already writing down over here what my schedule is going to be for the conference. So I think as we're going through here, I hope others are as well. So I'm going to transfer over now control to Jane Wissinger. Jane, you should have control now to take it away.
All right. Okay, hello everybody. I'm so happy to be inviting you to the symposium organized by myself from the University of Minnesota, Lexi Leonteff from North Dakota State University, and Natalie O'Neill from Beyond Benign. And our symposium's a little bit different. It's called a rapid fire session, which I'll describe to you, but the context is that it'll be green chemistry curriculum designed to inspire, and then adding in the overall conference theme of systems design. So we're here to inspire students with whatever green chemistry we're incorporating into the session. And then we'll see some have translated that to talking about systems. So what can you expect? Let's see, okay. So a rapid fire session. First of all, our symposium is on Wednesday, starting at 1 o'clock. It may end in time to overlap with the, or that there might be some opportunity to get to Ed's later portion of their session, but we start at 1 on Wednesday. The idea behind a rapid fire session is that each speaker is going to prepare a 10-minute pre-recorded presentation that is supposed to really spark your interest in their topic and give highlights of the important aspects of their work so that it generates questions from you. And also the idea is that we want to provide as much resources as possible for topics that everybody individually is interested in. So we have 8 action-packed presentations, so 8 speakers that I'm going to share with you. And then we plan to have a panel discussion with all the speakers present so that the audience can dig deeper with questions for particular panelists that were the speakers in the presentations, have general conversations about sharing resources, and the presiders, Alexi, Natalie, and I will be prepared to also stimulate conversation based on the presentations. So here's a preview of the many different types of topics that are going to be covered. It's going to go from lecture to lab to research opportunities for undergraduates. We're going to start with Mo Hudson, who's going to talk about incorporating green chemistry into a 2-semester organic chemistry lecture sequence. So lectures a little more challenging than the lab, so that will be an interesting topic. And he comes He comes to us from Kenyon College in Ohio. Alexi, as I said, is at North Dakota State University, and he's also going to talk about integrating green chemistry into organic chemistry courses through a systems-oriented concept map extensions, and he's also going to talk about assessing the students in their content knowledge. David Lavista is on our roster that you heard about before. He has an interesting title, Controlled Chaos, and now we're going to go to the lab where we're going to talk about broadening student. He's going to talk about broadening student thinking while narrowing their focus in the teaching laboratory. And coming to us all the way from Nigeria is Samson Leda. Hope I do that justice. Who's going to talk about their initiatives in the green chemistry commitment in Nigeria, opportunities and perspectives and challenges. Really looking forward to hearing from Samson. All right, our next four speakers begin with Eric Fort, coming from University of St. Thomas in Minnesota here, and he's going to talk about a bio-based polymer for cross-disciplinary curriculum in the undergraduate curriculum. Amy Dene is going to talk from Colorado College and has a presentation on undergraduate research experiences involving green solid phase syntheses for drug discovery. Should be very interesting. I'm going to continue my favorite topic of talking about sustainable polymers and how you can tie them into modeling systems design through life cycle thinking. And then Natalie's going to wrap up our presentations by talking about undergraduate chemistry labs designed to maximize resource efficiency. So again, what we plan is, and so check the schedule for the timing, that we'll have a panel discussion with all 8, adding the presiders. That'd be 9 of us, but we'll be very organized, I promise, so that you all can ask questions of individual presenters. We can have meaningful and good dialogue of discussion, and we'll be prepared to lead the discussion, perhaps of what we feel the audience is interested in pursuing as a topic, or circling back to the major theme of the whole conference, as that is systems design. So again, we hope to see you there Wednesday, starting at 1 o'clock. Be sure to register. Be sure to do a special registration for the panel discussion. Thanks again to everyone who has organized this sneak preview. Hope it stimulates a lot of interest, and we see you in a few weeks.
Great, thanks, Jane. All right, we're going to hand it over now to Peter Mahaffey. All right, Peter, you should have control now.
Rio, thank you very much, Natalie. And thanks to Beyond Benign for this sneak peek at the conference. We're absolutely delighted that the conference is going ahead. It's a virtual conference. And so on behalf of my co-organizer, Tom Holm, and myself, we'd like to invite you to attend a session on June 16 in the afternoon entitled Reimagining Chemistry Education, Systems Thinking and Green and Sustainable Chemistry. And some of the key questions that we're going to be unpacking during this session with 8 speakers: how can chemistry education better address emerging global challenges? What's the role for systems thinking approaches that move beyond presenting chemistry as isolated bits of knowledge to a more integrated and holistic understanding of the field? How can systems thinking best inform green and sustainable chemistry education? And what are some of the best practices from green chemistry education that really embed systems thinking? What shared understandings of systems thinking should the community develop to guide that reimagining of chemistry education? This initiative to reimagine chemistry education, just seeing if I can get the slide to advance here, Natalie.
Yep, I'm gonna restart it for you just to see if we can.
Or maybe you can advance on your end.
Yep, I think I might have to. All right.
There we go. This initiative to reimagine chemistry education, bringing into conversation systems thinking and green and sustainable chemistry education, the roots go back quite a ways. And one of the key points along that journey has been the development over about a decade of the ACS Green Chemistry and Engineering Roadmap. And then the framework of systems thinking as it applies to chemistry education, it's been well known in some other disciplines, especially engineering, was articulated in just 2 years ago in a paper in Nature Reviews Chemistry. And that has catalyzed a global IUPAC project on systems thinking in chemistry education. That project places learners of chemistry at the center, and it has 3 nodes or subsystems that link to those learners. We've been looking with a group of 24 people from around the world at what we need to learn from educational research and theories about how students learn in general, how they learn chemistry specifically, and then how that learning understanding of chemistry relates to addressing big challenges in Earth and societal systems. And as Ed has already mentioned, one of the really important outcomes of this IUPAC project was the special issue of JChem Ed with 43 contributions in December of last year. We have a really impressive lineup of speakers for you in this session. I will lead some things off with a brief reflection on what we've learned about our world and what we've learned about science education and chemistry education as a result of reflecting on the COVID pandemic. And then that little jumble of letters you see down below is our letters that spell systems thinking. And I'm not going to tell you what that's going to be about. You'll have to attend the session in order to learn how that relates to elements of systems thinking and beyond. I'll be followed by Cindy Gilbert, who is in charge of VentureWell's faculty and institutional change initiatives. And she's going to be telling us about a new and really impressive initiative called Engineering for One Planet, defining and developing a framework for environmentally responsible engineering. Then David Constable, Science Director of the ACS Green Chemistry Institute, is going to be focusing on green and sustainable chemistry core competencies, really the first big destination along the green and sustainable chemistry roadmap. We'll then hear from Mary Kay Orgel at University of Nevada, Las Vegas, who's been doing some seminal work, I think, with her graduate student, Sarah York, to help the chemistry education and the green chemistry communities think about what the essential features of systems thinking are. So it's a term that's out there. It's not really very well understood. What really constitutes systems thinking in chemistry teaching and learning? And can we agree as a community what those essential features are? Tom Holm at Iowa State and the new editor-in-chief of JChem Ed is going to give an example using a pharmaceutical molecule of expanding boundaries in general chemistry to build a systems thinking approach to life cycle analysis. And then Peter Tandler from Walsh University, teaching systems thinking through a fuels and energy chemistry course. Then we have Jamie Schiffer, who's a medicinal chemist at Janssen and founder of NanoChem Ed, talking about her work on microplastics outreach, a systems thinking approach to teach high school students about the chemistry and impacts of plastics. And our 8th speaker is Charity Flenner-Lovett at University of Washington, Bothell. And she's going to be talking about the laboratory. How can we develop a system of scientific thinking and safety mindset in a general chemistry lab? So we're looking forward very much to seeing some of you and many others at this session on June 16. And let me just end with thanking ACS again for moving ahead with the Green Chemistry and Engineering Conference, and Beyond Benign for putting on this webinar.
Great, thank you, Peter. Another session I've got written down into my schedule. I'm going to hand over to Ed to do our next round of introductions.
Thank you, Natalie. And I'm very happy to introduce our next three speakers. First off, Kendra Dellinger. She grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, and attended the University of Cincinnati for both her BS and her PhD in chemistry. Her graduate research was in the area of green chemistry, studying solvent-free reactions using polymer-supported reagents. She began teaching organic chemistry at Xavier University in Cincinnati in the fall of 2017, and began her career as a teaching professor at Xavier in the fall of 2019. She is currently active with ACS in the Division of Chemical Health and Safety, as well as the Committee on Chemical Safety. The next speaker will be Natalie O'Neill, who needs no introduction, but Natalie has received her PhD in chemistry from the University, the SUNY University at Albany in 2017, after graduating with her bachelor's degree in forensic chemistry from Western New England University. During her graduate studies, she felt that the topics of sustainability, toxicology, and environmental hazards were missing from the traditional graduate chemistry curriculum. Therefore, she pursued a one-year certification in green chemistry and chemical stewardship, attended the American Chemical Society Green Chemistry and Sustainable Energy Summer School, and became actively involved in the network of early career sustainable scientists and engineers, or NESSE, a global movement of young professionals working on or interested in solutions to today's most pressing sustainability challenges. She served at Utica College as both an adjunct and assistant professor of chemistry from 2015 to 19, introducing green chemistry to both major and non-major courses. She is passionate about teaching and empowering the next generation of scientists to use sustainable approaches through green chemistry. And our final speaker for this afternoon will be Ruben Hudson, who is a professor of chemistry at College of the Atlantic with a passion for undergraduate education and research. Ruben's approach to green chemistry education focuses on connecting tangible and accessible examples to course content across the curriculum. His materials chem approach to sustainability and research has been shaped by the study of ion conducting membranes during a Fulbright professorship with Martin Wickening at TU Graz in Austria, the study of immobilized catalysis as part of a visiting postdoc with Yoichi Yamada at Riken in Japan, and the study of polymer synthesis through an NSF-C's fellowship with Jeff Katz at Colby College, and the study of nanoparticle catalysis during his PhD with Audrey Moores and CJ Lee at McGill University in Canada. With our final introductions complete, take it away, Kendra.
Thank you, Ed, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm here to tell you a little bit about the technical session, Making Your Undergraduate Chemistry Labs Greener and Safer. So the hope for this session is that you'll learn some specific ways that you can improve your chemistry labs without having to totally reinvent the wheel. So our session will be on Tuesday, June 16th, starting at 1:00 p.m. We'll start with introductory remarks, followed by 4 20-minute presentations, and then a live discussion. So this is an overview of our 4 talks. The first talk at 1:05 is Barriers to Implementing Green Chemistry with Cynthia Woodbridge, who teaches chemistry at Georgia Gwinnett College in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Her talk will describe the institution or her department's movement to redesign the labs from the spaces to usage to the actual experiments to be greener and safer and more sustainable. She'll also identify some of the barriers that they run into in this process and present some hopefully potential next steps. The next talk at 1:25 is Ultrasonic Assisted Transesterification, a green mini-scale organic laboratory experiment with our speaker, Yujin Liu. who is currently a lecturer at University of Wisconsin-Parkside, and she will be starting as an assistant professor in the fall at California State University, Sacramento. So her talk will describe a safe, convenient, and environmentally benign laboratory experiment for the synthesis of biodiesel from 6 kinds of vegetable oils. The experiment uses ultrasonic irradiation with a base catalyst at room temperature and atmospheric pressure. At 1:45, I will give a talk, Fitting Risk Assessment and Green Chemistry into the Organic Laboratory, where I'll just talk about how I put risk assessment techniques into a more traditional type organic lab, and also tried to incorporate green chemistry along with that by using a project where the students assessed risk in scenarios outside the organic chemistry laboratory. Our last talk before the live discussion portion will be ERAMP, Development of a Risk Assessment Module for Undergraduate Organic Teaching Labs with Ralph Stewart, who currently works at Keene State College as their Chemical Hygiene Officer and who serves as the current chair of the ACS Committee on Chemical Safety. Ralph is also the co-organizer of this technical session. So his talk will describe the design of this ERAMP risk assessment module. This project was funded by an ACS Innovative Project Grant. There's a lot of collaboration between several different ACS divisions and also a committee. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of what you'll get to see in a couple of weeks if you join us, and I really hope to see you there.
Great, Kendra. That's awesome. I already know I will be there for sure, taking in that inorganic or organic work that you've got going on. So hi, I'm Natalie O'Neill. I'm going to be talking about today a little bit different outside of my Beyond Benign role, a session that I put together with Laura Reyes, who I know through the network of early career sustainable scientists and engineers. And this is really a important topic to both Laura and I, as we both have alternative careers in green chemistry. And so our session is on Thursday. It's from 1 to 4:50 p.m. in room Indium. And so really our goal for this career session is to be able to highlight for students and for anyone along their career path, the numerous and diverse and non-linear career paths that are available to students really underneath this full umbrella of green chemistry and engineering. We're really aiming to highlight the benefits of that background knowledge of green chemistry and how the employer may find that as a real benefit, although it may not be called for explicitly in the job posting. And the importance of marketing the non-obvious technical skills that you get from having that green chemistry mindset, such as system thinking or safety in your science communication, in the way that you are just a little bit maybe more collaborative in this interdisciplinary space. We hope to address any students' questions of the career options that might be available to them. And of course, those are always changing, as we know, and how they might go about pursuing them. Of course, we know no path is the same, but just to give them some ideas of what people have done in the past. We are kind of targeted towards students just because we're talking about careers, but of course we welcome everyone, anyone in an established career path that might be curious about learning about other career paths, or mentors looking for resources for students. So I'm going to give you just an overview of the session quickly. We do have 4 speakers in the beginning of our session, and they are varied in their backgrounds. We tried really hard to get speakers, and we have amazing speakers from different areas within what green chemistry touches and covers. And so we have a range from, in Washington State, Saskia Van Buren in her role, down to a patent intellectual property attorney, and then assistant professor David Lavista, who's already been mentioned 3 times, so he's going to be a busy man, but he's going to be telling us about this is his second career. So academia being his second career, a little bit different than what we expect or what students get told during their training, for sure. So we will then have a live discussion that's 20 minutes of those 4 speakers. We'll then come back after the networking break and have 2 more speakers that are a little bit earlier in their career, and they're going to be, again, varied in their backgrounds. But as you can see by the titles, I love Bart, what's a career anyways, how about a life? And so really the idea here is to give students an idea of paths to maybe they're looking at people as role models and wondering how they got there. So we hope to have students come and engage with all the speakers here in our final live panel discussion. And we're going to be really looking at leveraging those technical and non-technical skills that are unique to the green chemistry and engineering community. So we hope to see you there. Please send your students to us. We have amazing speakers that are going to share their backgrounds. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to you, Ruben.
Great. Thank you, Ed, for the introduction, and thanks again to Beyond Benign for putting together this sneak peek preview of what we'll see in a couple of weeks. Myself and Julian Silverman will be running an undergraduate context session, and the idea of this session will be gotta get my slide advancing here. The idea of this session will be to allow you to connect with different areas of the green chemistry umbrella, despite, you know, everybody is coming at green chemistry from a different angle. It can feel as an undergraduate student or as a graduate student or as a postdoc that there are all of these different niche fields, and it can be hard to break into these. So if you might be interested in biomass valorization or cleaner methods or catalysis, you might think about going to some of these talks and saying, okay, well, they're using these terms like craft lignin and vanillin, and you say, okay, well, I've got some questions there. Or the cleaner methods folks might be saying, well, they're talking about ball milling or photochem, and you bounce around to different talks to the catalysis group, and they're talking about synchrotron beamline techniques like Zanes and Zafs, and they're talking about the structure of their catalysts. And you might have all of these questions related to the various sort of niche groups, and you want to figure out how you can connect the dots into the broader green chemistry context, because it feels like there's all these little bubbles. There's the sort of biomass valorization folks, the cleaner methods folks, and the catalysis folks, and it can feel like there's a sort of barrier to entry to all of these different groups. And what we're hoping to do is to bring all of these different groups together, bring sort of representation from each of these different niche groups into a sort of panel discussion where we can sort of debrief the conference. And so we've got a great panel of speakers from a range of different areas of expertise. All of us have a different area of expertise, and we all have our at least a toe in the water, if not much more in the realm of chemistry education. And so we're all hoping to sort of debrief the conference in general with everybody. And so I'm co-chairing this session along with Julian Silverman. I bring a sort of catalysis mindset to the realm of green chemistry. Julian brings a sort of biomass feedstocks perspective to the area of green chemistry. And then we've got a great panel of speakers that includes Jane Wisinger, Natalie O'Neill, Ed Brush, who you've heard from all three of those already, so I won't do too much of an introduction for them. And we also have Peter Deuce, who has an expertise in biomass valorization. And so we want to bring together, if you have questions that you've gathered throughout the conference, our session is toward the end of the conference. So if you've gathered questions throughout, maybe you've been to Jane's sessions or Natalie's session or Ed's session or Peter's session, and or any other session related to catalysis or biomass or whatever it is, hopefully we can gather these questions together and have a panel discussion to sort of debrief the conference in general. And so that's really what our session is about, and hopefully that gives you a nice sneak peek, and hopefully we'll see you at the conference in a couple of weeks. And with that, I'll turn it back to Natalie.
Great, thanks, Ruben. So I think we've covered everyone. So that was a ton of information, lots of information-packed sessions with amazing speakers. Amy, I know you're there on the back side. Have you had any questions come into the chat box so far that we should be asking to our speakers here? And I know our speakers are going to come back on with their videos so that we can have more of an interactive discussion. So please feel free, if you haven't already, to type your questions into the chat box. So Amy, do we have any questions to start with for our Q&A portion of the webinar?
Yes, thank you guys all so much. That was a wonderful overview. I've got a bunch on my schedule as well, so it's going to be a packed week. Yeah, we have some logistical questions. So registering for, it sounds, there was a question about, does the conference registration also include the panel discussion registration? And I understand that there's you have to register for those separately. So I was wondering if that could be just a point of clarification. And maybe that's for Jenny or.
Yeah, I'm happy to take that one, Amy. Sorry, I've got some background noise here. So yes, absolutely. Once you register for the conference, you will be able to find the registration for the GoToWebinar discussion sessions inside the conference platform. So once you get inside, the conference platform is called Chime. You will see the sessions listed in the schedule, and below those you will see in the live discussion descriptions, you will see the GoToWebinar links. Shh, baby, go stand right over here. And I'm sorry. And in those descriptions, you will find the links to register for the GoToWebinar sessions there. It's a little bit, challenging that you'll have to go between the two platforms, but that will give us the most opportunity for people to engage in a live platform and provide the security that we need to ensure that the conversations are not interrupted by outside parties in an inappropriate way. So that's how we're going to make that functional this year. So you can register at any time for those GoToWebinar sessions, and once you are registered for the conference, those will be available and easy for you to do that. Once you register for the discussion session, you'll get an email and you can click on that link and it'll bring you right to the discussion room, just like you did today.
Perfect. That's great. And if you do have a question that you'd like to ask, also raise your hand and we can unmute you right now. And to ask your own question in your own voice. We have another logistical question on, will the recordings be viewable outside of the scheduled times?
Sure, I'm happy to answer that one too. So we have the schedules will be, all of the pre-recorded presentations will be available at the set time within the listed conference program, which is available now. And then after this pre-recorded time, the presentations will be available on demand for 90 days out within the conference platform. So anyone who is registered for the meeting will be able to view those for 90 days following the meeting. That is if each of the presenters has decided to make their presentation available. So some people have elected not to have that option, but for the most part, the content will be available afterwards.
Great. We do have a question that I'm wondering if we want to answer at the moment, or stay tuned for Peter's session. I've heard many mentions of systems thinking. Can you provide a high-level explanation of systems thinking? I wonder if that's a call for tuning in for your session, Peter, or if you wanted to mention anything briefly.
Sure, no. I can mention something briefly, and as Ed mentioned, a great place to go. There's a couple of key papers in the December 29 issue of the Journal of Chemical Education, the special issue, which is titled, in fact, the same as the title for our symposium. The idea, a simple way to think of that is we often teach chemistry as a set of very detailed and isolated facts and concepts. And one way to think about it is we can zoom out from that and see the ways in which a chemical reaction or a chemical process relates to other things. Where do your starting materials come from? Where do they end up? Life cycle analysis. But then even beyond that, how does that chemical reaction relate to important earth and societal challenges? And so, yes, please stay tuned. And you will actually, in my session, you will have a non-chemistry analogy of what is systems thinking that I think you'll find interesting. So stay tuned.
Wow. All right, I'm going to stay tuned. That's great. Another couple conference questions. Are there opportunities for networking during the conference?
Hi, Amy. Yes, there will be opportunities for networking during the conference. Between each of the technical sessions that are in the morning and afternoon Eastern time, I guess everything's kind of in the afternoon Eastern time, oops, there will be networking activities that are provide the opportunity for the attendees to engage with the editors of journals like JChemEd and Sustainable Chemistry and Engineering. Those will be one opportunity. There's a great opportunity to interact with the exposition companies as well as other attendees through the ability to swap information and connect and chat within the platform. So there will be opportunities to network, and a lot of those things will be happening in either Zoom or GoToMeeting depending on the platform. But once you get into the Chime platform, you'll see the networking activities tab on the left-hand side, and you'll be able to see when there are opportunities to engage with other attendees as well as editors and business leaders in the space.
That's wonderful. What a tremendous amount of work in such a short amount of time for you guys. So thank you for pulling that all together for the community. I've got one final question, then we hand it back to you, Natalie. How can I stay connected to the green chemistry education community? I think everyone is probably willing to stay connected here. Natalie, are you there?
I am here.
Okay,
I guess, yeah. So how do you stay connected to the green chemistry community? I would say continue to come to these green chemistry discussions. If you have ideas or there's a topic that you're really interested in hearing about from leaders in the field, please reach out to us. As you see, all of these amazing speakers are here today and telling you about the sessions because of their own passion and interest. And so I think that maybe I'm speaking for you guys, but I know personally that I would be willing to connect with anybody that would be wanted to be welcomed into the green chemistry community and show you the connections to be made. And I think the Green Chemistry and Engineering Conference being online this year and everybody being able to connect at least during this time virtually gives us a great time to be able to do that. So I would say come to the conference, stay connected to the people that you meet there virtually over the next year, and then when we can meet in person again, we'll have that kind of physical sense of community overall. I hope that answers the question, and I see head nods from the speakers, so I assume they're on board as well.
Wonderful. So that's all we have for questions. I think everybody's looking forward to tuning in. So Natalie, I'm going to hand it back over to you. And I know we have a poll to launch so that if we can send you some direct reminders of these sessions, you can indicate your preference. Should I launch that poll now, Natalie?
Sure. You can launch that poll now, Amy.
All right. Let me see. So you can multiple select, and we can send you an email directly about which of these that you're interested in attending, and we can send you those direct reminders of when the sessions are by email. You can also flag these things within the Chime system on your upon registration too, which I've already done in mine. All right, I'm going to give just another few seconds to finish up the poll. And we'll close in, I'm giving everybody a chance to respond here. So another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thanks, everybody. Okay,
Great.
Natalie,
So
back to you.
Awesome. So I'll say thank you all for our wonderful speakers today and for giving us a sneak peek into your sessions. Lots of great tidbits there, and I'm sure just from the conversation and questions today, people are interested as well. So the Green Chemistry and Engineering Conference, I think we've mentioned it multiple times, but it's a great opportunity to network and learn from leaders in the field and to make those connections that if you're looking for them. It's free to register. In the chat box right now, there is the link to go and register. So we hope to see you there at the conference. We are also thrilled to announce that our third Green Chemistry Commitment Summit is going to be hosted online this year. That is going to be on June 25th from noon to 3 p.m. ET. Join us and the GCC signers to network with like-minded colleagues, participate in interactive sessions, share best practices, and brainstorm ideas to advance green chemistry and engineering in higher ed. We really see that as an extension of the conference, so please come continue the conversation with us. There is a link to that registration in the chat box now. So we have had that final poll, and we will make sure that if you submitted in terms of what conferences or sessions you are interested in, that we will reach out to you once we have those kind of directed to programs and also those live discussion links. So if you enjoyed the webinar discussion today and you want more events like that, like this, please let us know and you can submit your ideas to us. If you want to stay connected with us, please sign up for the Beyond Benign newsletter and you'll receive our webinar announcements. We hope to keep these green chemistry connections running throughout the summer to give us a place to have these community discussions when we can't meet physically together. So thank you so much for joining us. Stay home, stay well, and we'll see you again here on the Green Chemistry Connection. Thanks.
Okay, 2 hours to submit to submit videos.
Crunch time. Thank you so much, all.
Was that poll working for others? It wasn't working for me.
I can't participate. I can't participate in the poll, so I'm not sure if Amy, if you're still on the back side there.
It said attendees only.
Yes, I believe it was. Yeah.
I was trying to click and couldn't, and I was hoping it was working for the attendees.
Yeah, it did. I saw them coming in. So
good. Okay.
Thank you so much, Natalie. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Do let
Bye-bye.
me know if you want a copy. It will be posted by the end of the day.
All right. Sounds good.